my February wrap up for How to Kill a Kit with Style. I've got my layouts here to share with you, and then we can go through my kit and kind of see what I have left over and how well I killed this kit that I created. So let me go through my layouts first. I've got my December daily layout that I did here. This is actually day 2. So here's day 1, and then here's day 2. Pull this out, and I just put an extra little photo in there, and it can just slide in. So that can go back into its album, and there is a process video for those. This is a layout I created using a kit from my Build-A-Page kit and also Wild Whisper products that I put together. So again, I've got some little pull-out tags, so I'll go ahead and I'll journal on those, and then I can put it into its page protector. This is another kit layout that I put together for Build-A-Page, also using Wild Whisper stuff. All the papers are Wild Whisper and these little cameras, and then everything else is, you know, a bunch of ephemera and stuff that I pulled together for the page. And this one has a big shaker pocket in it. This is a Build-A-Page, obviously all the Build-A-Page stuff is on top. This is a Build-A-Page kit that I put together. I also used some inspiration for off the board, and so I went on to Pinterest and I found some inspiration that I really liked. A layout that was created by Stephanie Reed, and just pulled all of the elements from the page kit to try to put together a layout using her inspiration piece. So I love how this one turned out. It's really fun, and I love all the weird kind of random shapes, and it was just kind of fun to cut those all out and then wrapping some twine and adding little embellishment clusters. And then this is the last, whoops, I sent things flying. This is the last Build-A-Page kit that I put together. You can see the Wild Whisper paper in this one too. All of the papers here are Wild Whisper. The labels I fussy cut from paper, and then all the stickers and little embellishments again come from various places. So you can definitely go find the kit building video where I actually put the kits together, and then all of the process videos, and then a more detailed wrap up of all of these layouts. Those are all on my channel. This is a layout I actually didn't post the video for. I'm not in love with this layout, if I'm being perfectly honest. I just, I don't know. I'm not loving it. I didn't think it looked the way I hoped it would in my head, but I did put it together using the Craft IQ prompts. So instead of having 7 layers now, the Craft IQ challenge has turned into essentially 3, or I don't know, I think maybe Jackie's still kind of playing with the amount, but it's sort of like 3 guidelines that she gives you each day, and you can kind of scrap along with her and do each step by step. So I used to do that with the Craft IQ challenge when she was doing the layers, but occasionally you would get a random layer, kind of say like maybe the 4th or 5th layer, that would require you to kind of pull everything up and rework your layout. I think she's doing it now so you can kind of build as you go, and you aren't going to get some of those curveballs that kind of make you really have to reassess everything, which was definitely fun, but this kind of gives you the opportunity to build a page over a few days. If you only have, you know, 5 or 10 minutes to sit at your desk and scrap, then you can kind of get a page done by just following a few of her guidelines. So let me see if I can remember. I think the first one was maybe that you had to pick 3 papers. You had to have 1 as your background, like 3 pattern papers, sorry, 1 as your background, and then two other patterns. So that's what I have here. I've got my background pattern, and then I've got this pattern paper, and I've got this pattern paper. And then you had to rip something. You had to make a ripped element on the left side of your page. So that's what I did. I actually ripped the top here. So this is a 6x6 paper. I just cut it in half and then just ripped all the way down. So there's a torn edge. And then I actually folded up and ripped these, I don't know if you can see the torn edges there, these snowflakes that I created. I went ahead and ripped those. And then I used a similar paper to this one just to map my photos and kind of bring them over. And I think another prompt was that you had to have at least 2 photos, 2 to 3 photos, I think is what she said. And then the final one was to wrap your title. You were supposed to wrap it around this edge so it was following the right hand side. But because I'm doing a smaller size and I added 2 photos, I felt like it wasn't gonna work over here. And so I ended up wrapping mine this way, but I kind of felt like, even though it's a bit of a cheat and I didn't exactly follow the prompt, I did wrap it so that it goes kind of in the right direction. So in my brain, I've justified it and that works. And oh yes, now that I'm thinking about it, I am definitely not explaining this layout well enough, but if you really, really want to see how I did it, please let me know. I will post the video. You had to add another layer behind your photos. So the first one I think was to pick your three papers and kind of set it up so the ripped stuff was on the left-hand side, your photos were on the right-hand side, and you had to have at least between 1 and 3 photos, I think is how it went. Then the next element was you had to add something into the background of your photos that wasn't just traditional paper. So I picked texture paste, and then what I did is I took a snowflake stamp that I had, I cleaned it off, and I just stamped it right into the texture paste. So there's no color there, it just left little impressions, and it kind of gave me this fun little pattern in the texture paste to kind of represent snow falling. So that was the other layer, and then the other guideline, I guess. And then the third was the title, where I just, cheated just a little bit because I just didn't think it was gonna fit anywhere else. So I wrapped it right here. So that is my Craft IQ challenge layout, but I'm not super fussy about it. I don't think I love it. I do kind of wish I hadn't splattered. I feel like that just made it look a little bit messy, but I'm not gonna get rid of it. I'm not gonna take it apart. It will end up in my album. It just isn't one of my favorites. So let me know if you want to see the process video for it. I can definitely post it, but I didn't because, yeah, not my favorite. Here is, I love this layout. I think this layout turned out so stinking cute. So this layout was for Tuesdays in the Attic, and that's the series Jackie and I are doing where we are using the Freaky Fast Friday formulas from the scrap room, and you just cut your papers to the different measurements that they give you in the formula, and then you kind of put your layout together based on that. It's another small one because it's a 2022 layout, so yeah, I love this. I think it turned out so fun, so cute. And here you can see I did have a bit of a Valentine's theme going on in my How to Kill a Kit with Style kit, because a lot of the papers that I was picking, I noticed I was going to my Valentine's stash because those seem to have a bit more vintagey feel to me than some of my other collections. Vintage really isn't my style, so I was looking for those vintagey papers, and Valentine's papers seem to work. Plus my stash of Valentine's papers is pretty old because, you don't do too many Valentine's layouts every year. It's only one day. And so I tend not to go through that stash as quickly. And so I had a lot of pieces from way back in like 2010, 2011, 2013. So that is why Valentine sort of ended up inadvertently being a secondary theme in my kit, which you can again see here. This was another Tuesdays in the Attic layout, so I've got the papers all cut down to the measurements that we got in our Freaky Fast Friday formula, and then I added all my cute little embellishments. I did a lot of Maggie Holmes stuff in this kit because she kind of has that vintage feel to me. This paper I thought was kind of vintagey with the beautiful lettering. And so that was a Tuesdays in the Attic layout. I love how this one turned out. Very simple, but it just looks really nice and pretty. This is the layout I created for the Wild Whisper design team. And so just using an old piece of paper from Wild Whimsy, that's how it kind of ended up in my kit. I already had this picture and this paper paired together and kind of put away in my Wild Whisper stuff. And so I figured I might as well pull it out, and that'll make a really nice quick layout. The floral collection here is where the ephemera comes from. I wouldn't say it's super vintage. It's sort of in the middle of the Wild Whisper design era, but I wanted to add just some fun little pops of flowers. Uh-oh, Landon has found me. And then I've got a cute little title here. Here's the layout I created for Mad About Mini paper pads. So I've got a few pieces of 6x6 papers all tucked in here. I did a little flipping technique here so that I could get both sides of this background paper because I really liked the black and white side as well. So you can see here's the 6x6 paper just to do a little peek where I flipped it. I love how this one turned out. I think it's so fun. It's busy. There's lots of stuff going on with a busy background, but I just like all the little pops of interest and the flowers, and it's super girly, so I thought that was pretty. And then this one I created from the page kits that I built in my live in February. I went ahead and created this layout at my next live, which was on the 14th. On the 15th, sorry, yes. On the 15th. So this is again using all Wild Whisper and lots of their vintage stuff except the background paper. The background paper is brand new. It's from the Chaos and Love collection, but I just really loved how it was black and white, and so I felt like it would hold the teals really nicely. And then I also loved that it's a lot of like hands, like the little sort of pinky promise hand and the little, where is it? Hearts, your hands making hearts and stuff like that, holding hands, the little kind of baby holding mama's hand type thing, or it could be dad, baby holding dad's hand, but it's just sort of like this girly cute layout with Kaylin, and you know, we kind of have that relationship, like we'll still snuggle up and she'll hold my hand. So I thought that the hands worked really good. And then all the papers come from various different collections that are sort of some of their first collections. So there's things like Out and About and the Masculine collection. This is Sassy Since Birth, Sassy Since Birth. These are from Adventure, which is I think one of their very, very first collections. There is some teal papers in here, I think also from Just Because. This is Child at Heart. This is Always and Forever, which was a wedding collection that they did way, way back, one of their first ones. So lots of little bits and pieces of those different vintage collections, as I like to call them. So that is all of the layouts that I did in February. Not a ton. I feel like I didn't do, you know, super great, but I got more than one layout a week. So I wouldn't say I did a super ton of scrapbooking in February, but I got a few every week. And that's sort of what I've set as my goal for this year, but I'm not pushing myself too hard. I'm really enjoying the process and just kind of enjoying scrapbooking. And so the amount isn't as important to me as just getting it done. So here is the kit. Let's see what I have left over. So here's one of the vintage, I think this is either Maggie Holmes or crepe paper. I lost the cover. But I thought it always has such a vintagey feel to it. And so I did use quite a few pieces out of this, but obviously there's still a lot left. So that will just go back with my 6x6 paper pads. I put a couple of doilies in there. Doilies to me have that very vintage feel, but these ones were also heart-shaped, and because I had some Valentine's type stuff, I thought they would match really nicely. I used one, and so I'll just put the rest of them up with my Valentine stuff. I used a few things from in here. In one of my page kits, I cut the whole bottom here that said on the list, and so I used up all of that. And did I use anything else? Maybe not. But I'm gonna keep these in my kit until they're pretty much as used up as I possibly can. So those can just kind of go to the side to wait to be put back in. I used Sarah's stamp. I got these stars used, the That's My Boy used, and one more. Oh, and the music notes. I got those all used up, so I think that's great. I am gonna keep this in my stash because I still haven't used this hashtag mom life, and I know that I'm gonna wanna do that, and I just think there are some fun kind of everyday type images in this stamp set that I could use. So I'll keep this in the kit, or at least keep it out and keep it handy. Here is the Maggie Holmes sticker book. I've been using this for so many years. How old is this? Does it actually say? No. Nope, it doesn't. But I think I got this in 2018. And I'm still using it up, and I use stickers from it every month, but there's still so many. So I will keep this. I always put it right in front of me here with my embellishment stuff. I don't know if it's gonna end up back in my kit, so I'll just put it back there. I did not use many of these stickers. What did I use? A couple of these little banners, or labels, or whatever you want to call them. And this right here was a tag. That's all that I used from here. These can just go back into where I keep, where I keep all of my stickers. Just pop those near the back. And then I've got, here we go. I used a few of these little hearts, wooden hearts. They kind of have an interesting shape to them. I'm throwing them all over. So lots of those left. So I'll go ahead and put those back with my Valentine's stash. I didn't use my little adventure piece right here. I will put these back. There are more pieces that are loose down here, so I'll put them all back. Let me pull this stuff out so you can kind of see what's fallen to the bottom. Come on, there we go. Okay. So I used a couple of the felt pieces, but not all of them. So obviously these can all go back into my Valentine's stash. I kind of felt like felt was a little bit vintagey. Just the texture is kind of a vintagey material, and the hearts obviously worked with the Valentine stuff, but then they also kind of have a bit of a vintage feel to them themselves, just with the scroll work here and, you know, the lock and key kind of concept. So those can all go back. Oh, there's one more. I did pull out some of my Prima stuff because, again, I kind of get that vintage, the vintage vibes from a lot of Prima stuff, but I didn't really use any of it. So all of that can go back. These are just some adhesive dots that can go back. Here's another piece of chipboard from Prima. I have no idea how to use this kind of stuff. I know. So yeah, all of that can go back. I have 2 sets of these tags. So I did use one of these tags and I did use one of these, but obviously you can see here I have a second whole set. I didn't use this one on either of them, but I think I might just pop these all out, and these can all go in, well, not the Prima stuff, but all the Valentine stuff. I just have a container, a little plastic container, and I can just put it up there, and that can all go together. This can go in the garbage. Here's a couple of scraps from one of the layouts. I might go ahead and just keep these over here in that scrap bin that I have. I didn't use my words, my metal words. I've already used one of them because they always come in packs of 3. But I didn't use either of these, so they can go back with the Valentine's stash. And then let me pull out all the papers. Actually, there's more than just paper in here, but I'm going to pull it all out. So I have this paper I didn't use. It can go back. I have these little tags from a Close to My Heart collection. I just thought, you know, this is sort of a wood grain. This is kind of an beige color. Maybe I could find a way to incorporate them. I didn't, so they will go. Here is some of that Prima stuff. So the collection, this one is the Georgia Blues, which is so beautiful. I really love this collection, but it's not my style, and so I'm struggling to use up a lot of these elements that are left over. And then this collection is, what are you? The sticker is covering it. Hold on. Let me open it up and I can let you know. This one I sort of threw in, not because it's called Flirty Fleur. So I don't feel like this is necessarily vintage because it has the holographic silver foil to it. I don't know if you can kind of see it there catching the light, but the images are vintage and the writing I thought was super vintage, and it had little pops of kind of a minty color in it, so I thought it could work because there is a little bit of mint in this collection along with the blue and mints within my Valentine stuff. I didn't end up using any of it, so I will put it all back, but that was sort of the most vintage that I got into this kit, and I didn't use it. These enamel hearts can go back into my Valentine stash. And then all of these, oh, here's another piece of the chipboard. All of these 6x6 papers I pulled because I thought in some way they felt kind of vintagey. Either these ones, kind of that, you know, cursive writing, but then also there's a Valentine's theme to them. Here I just thought the flowers felt kind of pretty and vintagey, and so that's why I pulled a lot of these out. They're from all different companies, all different manufacturers, and they're mostly from my sampler packs that I had. So I'm trying to get a bunch of these put into every kit, and I did use a few of them, but not as many as I thought. So these will go back with the rest of my sampler pack papers over there. I did grab some of these Tim Holtz small words because these are sort of vintage to me, vintage stash, which is one way that I was interpreting the idea or the theme of vintage. These are from 2015. Are they both from 2015? Yes. So, you know, sort of vintage within my stash, so I wanted to pull those out. I always keep them handy right here as well, so they're kind of always in my stash, but I did get a bunch of them used, which was kind of nice. These are some more of those sampler pack papers, a little bit more on the Valentine's theme, but also have some vintage images, so I thought it kind of worked well. This was an old vintage paper. I did use a piece of it and I used the branding strip from it. So this can go back into my scrap stash. I didn't get any of this used. You can see all of these papers. None of the Simple Stories collection here that I have called Hugs and Kisses, which with the bikes and just some of the florals kind of felt vintage to me, but I didn't get any of it used. So all of that will just go back into my Valentine stuff. I also have the sticker sheets that went with it. So those will all go into my Valentine's stuff. I have this piece of paper is carried over from January to February. It might end up staying in there for March. I'm just gonna pop it right here. It's just sort of a lone piece of paper, but I like the black and white, so it might end up staying. I threw these in because I thought they had a bit of a vintagey flair to them, just again, the florals, but I'll put them back with my stickers because I'm not sure if I'll get them used up for March. I'm gonna keep this out for March because obviously we've got St. Patrick's Day going on, so I'll put that just right there so I remember. This I thought was super vintage. It's literally got vintage in the name, Vintage Artistry, but I didn't get it used. This is from 49 and Market, so I'm gonna put it back in my stash and hopefully I'll get it used soon. I did not touch this Christmas kit. It's gonna go back in my stash and eventually at some point I will get this layout finished. Some more Christmas that I kept in my stash because it gave me the vintage vibes, but I think I am gonna go ahead and pack it away. So I had this page kit and I had this page kit kind of put together from January, and I'm gonna go ahead, and when I say pack it away, my Christmas stuff actually just sits right here, so I can grab it very easily whenever I need to, but I'm not gonna keep it in my kit anymore. So throw that back. And what else is down here? These I think are just remnants from January, and just something that's probably been in this tin for a while. So this can go with Valentine's stuff, I think. This can go with my branding strips. This was just a chunk from Christmas, probably in January, and that is it. My kit here is empty of all the supplies. I'm gonna have to give it a sweep out, I think. I don't know if you can see all the fibers from the felt being in there. And then here are the photos. So I ended up not pulling as many of these pictures as I thought I would, but that's okay. I only have this handful of them left. So these will just go back into my pictures where I keep them up here, and then I can load up March's pictures. I do have all my Christmas stuff. I'm just kind of keeping it here because I do Christmas sort of, you know, every month a little bit, and just as I go I might get the motivation to scrap some Christmas. So I'm gonna keep these in here, and I'll just add March's photos, which March's theme is books, so that's going to be tons of fun, so I'll be putting that together next. If you guys have any questions about anything, suggestions, if you're putting kits together and you were able to kill your kit, I'd love to know that. Leave all your comments down below. I love chatting with you guys, and thank you so much for your support this month. I am so close to 2,000 subscribers. It's super exciting, and I really appreciate all of you guys. So thank you, and I will be back with March's kit very soon. So until then, happy scrapping. Bye.
Bye. Thanks to me. To my channel.